Once, far beyond the edge of a bustling city, nestled between a crumbling hill and a dried-up river, lay a village that time had nearly forgotten. The land was barren, cracked like old leather, the air dry and filled with dust. Crops had stopped growing years ago, the wells ran dry, and most families packed what little they had and left in search of a better life. Only a few stayed behind, either because they had nowhere else to go or because they believed, somehow, things would change. Among those who stayed was a boy named Eli. He was just 8 years old when he lost both his parents to illness. With no siblings, no extended family, and no place to call truly home, Eli survived off the kindness of an aging neighbor and the occasional leftovers passed to him by villagers who still had something to give. Yet even among the ruins of his childhood, Eli noticed things others didn't, like the way the wind carried seeds from faraway trees, or how the earth, though dry on the surface, still held moisture deep below. One morning, as Eli walked past the ruins of his old house, he spotted a single green sapling pushing its way through a crack in the ground. It was tiny, fragile, almost laughable in the vastness of the wasteland, but stood tall. That tiny sprout stirred something deep inside him. If this little thing can survive here, he thought, maybe others can too. With no tools, no experience, and certainly no support, Eli began planting. He gathered seeds from whatever plants he could find, sometimes trading a piece of bread for them, sometimes collecting them from faraway fields during long walks. He dug small holes with his bare hands, using an old tin can to carry water from the last working well in the village. At first, people mocked him. "You think you can fix this land with seeds?" they'd say, shaking their heads. "Trees don't grow here anymore." But Eli didn't argue. He just kept planting one tree, then two, then a dozen. Seasons passed. Some of the saplings withered and died under the harsh sun. But others, just a few, held on. And when the rains came, brief though they were, they gave those little trees the strength to grow a bit taller. Every tree that survived gave Eli new courage. Every new leaf was a sign of hope. By the time Eli turned 15, the edge of the village looked different. Where once there had been only dust, now stood a thin line of green. Birds, once absent, had returned, chirping from the low branches. The ground, once bone-dry, began to soften. More trees meant more shade. More shade meant cooler soil. And cooler soil meant a chance for even more life to grow. People noticed. Some were curious, others skeptical. But one by one, villagers began asking Eli how he did it. He taught them patiently how to pick the right seeds when to plant, how to care for the saplings without wasting precious water. Children joined him first, then mothers, then even the old men who once laughed at him. By the time Eli turned 25, the village was nearly unrecognizable. The once barren hill was now a gentle slope of green. The dried river began to flow again during the rainy season, as the forest helped the earth retain water. Birds, squirrels, and even deer returned. The air smelled fresh. Crops began to grow once more. People who had long abandoned the village started to return. And Eli? He never called himself a hero. In fact, he didn't speak much about what he'd done. He still woke up early, still planted trees, still walked quietly through the forest he'd helped bring back to life. But when children asked him why he started planting in the first place, he'd always give the same simple answer. Because someone had to start. Years later, after Eli had grown old and the village had become famous for its transformation, a documentary team visited the area. They wanted to tell the story of the boy who had replanted a forest. When they asked him if he ever imagined all this happening, Eli just smiled and looked around. "No," he said, "I never thought this would change the world. I just thought it might change a little piece of it. And maybe that was enough." The camera lingered on him as he planted another sapling, his hands still rough and calloused, his eyes still full of hope. One small act can create a ripple effect of change. Eli didn't have wealth, power, or support. He had a seed and a will to make things better. That was enough. His persistence grew into a forest, a movement, and a message. You don't need to fix everything. You just need to begin. If this story moved you, take a moment to reflect. What is one small thing you can do today that might grow into something bigger tomorrow? Whether it's planting a tree, helping a neighbor, or starting something new. Remember, change starts small. If you enjoyed this story, like, share, and subscribe to Wisdom Tales for more inspiring content. And don't forget to drop in the comments if you believe in the power of small actions.